Good morning, children. Today we will study the preparation of colloidal salt. As you already know, the liofilic salts can be prepared directly by mixing the substance with the dispersion medium. For example, colloidal salts of starch, gelatin, gum, soaps are prepared simply by dissolving these substances in warm water. Similarly, a colloidal salt of cellulose nitrate is obtained by dissolving it in a mixture of ethyl alcohol and ether. The product obtained is called as collodion. However, the liophobic salts cannot be prepared directly. Hence, the following two methods are employed for obtaining the liophobic salts. The first is the dispersion or disintegration method. These methods involve the breaking of bigger molecules to colloidal size. The method generally employed for this purpose are described in the next. The first is the mechanical disintegration method. In this mechanical disintegration method, we use one colloidal mill. So the mechanical disintegration is carried out in a colloidal mill or a ball mill or ultrasonic disintegrator. A colloid mill consists of two steel discs with a little gap in between and capable of rotating in the opposite direction at high speed, that is near about 7,000 revolutions per minute. A suspension of the substance in water is introduced into the mill. The size of the suspension particle is reduced to the colloidal size. In the simple way, we can say the big particles are break down in the dimension of the colloidal salt, that is 1 to 1000 nanometer. For this purpose, we use one grinding mill. You know the grinding purpose. In the grinding mill, we can convert the size of the particles. So now this particle size is reduced to the colloidal size, or that is 1 to 1000 nanometer. So this is the mechanical disintegration method. Now the second is electrodisintegration, which is also called as Bragdon's arc method. This method is employed for obtaining colloidal solutions of metals like gold, silver, platinum, etc. An electric arc is struck between two metallic electrodes suspended in a trough of water. The intense heat of the arc converts the metal into vapors, which are condensed immediately in the ice cold water bath, resulting in the formation of the colloidal size. You can see in the figure there is the two metal rods, metal electrodes are there, and then they are connected to the electricity. So these are two metal electrodes, and then there is one ice bath, and then the one dispersion medium is there. So when we pass current, then these two electrodes touch each other, then electric spark is produced. Now due to this electric spark, the metal will vaporize, and due to vaporization, because there is the ice cold water, so the metal particles will be suspended in the water, and we can get a colloidal salt of the metal. So this is Bragdon's arc method, and it is important also. Many times it is asked in the examination, Bragdon's arc method. So now the third is called as peptization. Peptization is a process of converting a fresh precipitate into colloidal particle by shaking it with the dispersion medium in the presence of a small amount of suitable electrolyte. The electrolyte added is called as peptizing agent. So in the process of peptization, the precipitate is formed due to bigger size of the particles. Now when we shake this precipitate with the certain electrolyte, then it is converted into colloidal size, and then you will get a colloidal sol. The substance or the electrolyte which we have added here, that is called as peptizing agent. So a few example of sol obtained by peptizations are here. The first is reddish brown colored colloidal solution is obtained by adding a small quantity of ferric chloride solution to a freshly prepared ferric hydroxide. The brown color solution is obtained by adding a small quantity of ferric chloride in water. So then you will get ferric hydroxide will be formed, and then we will get a colloidal sol of the ferric hydroxide. A precipitate of silver iodide can be peptized by shaking with a dilute solution of silver nitrate or potassium iodide. It means when the precipitate of silver iodide is mixed with a small amount of potassium iodide or silver nitrate, then it is converted into a colloidal sol. So now the third example, on adding insufficient quantity or of very little hydrochloric acid to the freshly precipitated aluminum hydroxide, a sol of aluminum hydroxide is obtained. So when we mix a small quantity of the HCl in the aluminum hydroxide precipitate, then it is converted into a colloidal sol. Now we have to study the cause of peptization. As the electrolyte is added to a freshly precipitated substance, the particles of the precipitate preferentially adsorb one particular type of ions of the electrolytes. Ions common with the precipitated substance. As a result, they get dispersed due to electrostatic repulsions. This gives precipitate of colloidal size. An example of peptization of freshly precipitated ferric hydroxide with ferric chloride solution is shown in the next figure. So you can see the formation of ferric hydroxide sol. Freshly prepared precipitate are preferred as they are easily peptized. So you can see on the diagram, when ferric hydroxide is freshly precipitated and when we add ferric chloride solution to it, then it will adsorb ferric ion on the surface of the ferric hydroxide. Now both the species are having the same charge, that is the positive charge, due to adsorption of ferric ions. So they will repel each other, or they will break down the precipitate into the colloidal size, because they are having the similar charges. So it will not be precipitated, but it will be suspended into the water due to the presence of same charges. Actually, the stability of colloidal sol is due to the charge present on the colloidal particles. So because they are having the similar charges, so they will repel each other, and that also responsible for the stability of the colloidal sol. Now we will study the preparation by other method, that is the condensation or aggregation method. So this is the B point. Now these methods involve the joining together of a large number of smaller particles to form particles of colloidal size. The method generally employed for this purpose are as follows. The first method, by chemical reaction. In this we will study the chemical reaction which take place for the formation of the colloidal sol. That means different types of chemical reaction that you can see here. The first reaction is the by double decomposition, or the double displacement reaction. It is also called as double decomposition reaction. When H2S gas is passed through a dilute solution of arsenious oxide in water, a colloidal solution of arsenious sulfide is obtained. So when we pass H2S gas through arsenious oxide, then you will get a colloidal solution of arsenious sulfide. The reaction you can note down, arsenic oxide is As2O3 plus 3H2S, then it is converting into As2S3, that is a colloidal solution, plus 3H2O. So this is the one method by which we can prepare the colloidal salt. Now the second is by reduction. So many metals like gold, silver, platinum, etc. are obtained in colloidal form by reduction of very dilute solution, because solution of their salts with a suitable reducing agent. These metals are having higher reduction potential, so they can be easily reduced, and that's why we use the reduction method. The first is the gold can be reduced with the formaldehyde, then the gold chloride will be converted into gold, that is it will be reduced, and the formaldehyde which we are using, that will be oxidized. So the AuCl3 plus HCHO, 3HCHO plus 3H2O, you will get 2Au plus 3HCOH plus 6HCl. So this is the gold salt, because gold particle will be suspended into water. Now it can be obtained by the reduction of gold chloride solution with stannous chloride. Then we can write 2AuCl3 plus 3HNCl2. Then it is converted into 2Au plus HNCl4, because this is the reaction in the solution. So the gold particle will be suspended into water. So this is the reduction method by which we can prepare a gold salt. Now third is by oxidation. The sulfur is obtained in the colloidal form when H2S is bubbled through the solution of an oxidizing agent like nitric acid, bromine water, etc. So when we pass H2S through bromine water, then sulfur, because sulfur is insoluble in water, the sulfur particle will be suspended in water and plus 2HBr. So when we pass H2S through bromine water, then sulfur will be suspended in water and you will get a colloidal salt of sulfur. The second, we can oxidize when we pass H2S gas through nitric acid. Then nitric acid will be reduced and sulfur will be oxidized. So you will get water, nitrogen dioxide and sulfur. So this is the oxidation method by which we can prepare a colloidal salt. Now the third is by hydrolysis method. Ferric hydroxide and aluminium hydroxide salts are obtained by boiling solution of their corresponding chlorides. For example, ferric chloride plus 3 molecules of water is converted into ferric hydroxide plus 3HCl. So in this way we can prepare the colloidal salt by the hydrolysis of some compound, that is for the hydrolysis of ferric chloride. When we pour hot water into ferric chloride solution, then it is converted into ferric hydroxide salt. So there is some other method. The one is by exchange of solvent. Substances like sulfur and phosphorus are fairly soluble in alcohol but less soluble in water. In their alcoholic solutions, if their alcoholic solutions are poured in water, colloidal solution of sulfur and phosphorus are obtained. This is by exchange of solvent, because sulfur is insoluble in water but it is soluble in alcohol. So we dissolve sulfur into alcohol, then we pour this solution into water. So because sulfur is insoluble in water, so it will be suspended or you will get a colloidal salt of sulfur. So these are the methods by which we can prepare the colloidal salt. The next is the purification of colloidal solution. For the purification of colloidal solution, when a colloidal solution is prepared, it contains excessive amount of electrolytes which are crystal or crystalloids in nature and other soluble impurities, whereas the presence of trace amounts of the electrolytes is essential for the stability of colloidal solution. The presence of large amount results in coagulation of the colloidal salts. Hence, it is essential to reduce their amount to minimum required level. So, the process of reducing the impurities of the electrolytes to the minimum required level is known as purification of colloids, because if the large amount of electrolytes are present in the colloidal salt, then they will be responsible for the precipitation of the colloidal salt. Even the less amount of the electrolyte is required for the existence or for the stability of the colloidal salt. But when amount of electrolyte increases, then the colloidal solution will be precipitated. That's why it is essential to remove the impurities from the colloidal salt. The first process is the dialysis. The process of separating the particle of colloids from those of crystalloids by diffusion of the mixture through a parchment or an animal membrane is known as dialysis. The separation of crystalloids from the colloids is based on the principle that the particles of the crystalloids pass through animal membrane or parchment paper, where those of the colloids do not. So these particles will do not pass through the animal bag. So this process is that you can see in the diagram. There is we take one beaker, you can say, then we take one parchment bag in which we fill the colloidal salt. The size of colloidal particle you already know, that is 1 to 1000 nanometer. So this parchment bag will only allow for the crystalloid, not for the colloidal particles, because the size of colloidal particle is bigger than that of crystalloids. So these separation of crystalloids from the colloid is based upon the principle that the particles of the crystalloid pass through the animal membrane or parchment paper, whereas those of colloids do not. Colloid will not be passed through it. Now, sometime to increase the speed of the process, we use 2 electrodes there. Then it is called as electrodialysis. Due to the presence, you can see in the diagram, due to the presence of the electrode, the movement of the ions will be faster and the process of separation of impurities will also increase. So this will speed up the process or the purification of the electrolyte. Now it is called as electrodialysis, because now the next method is the ultrafiltration method. Ultrafiltration is a process of separating the colloidal particles from the solvent and soluble solute particles present in the colloidal solution by specially prepared filters which are permeable to all the substances except the colloidal particles. We prepare in ultrafiltration process, we use the special types of filter paper. Now these filter papers are prepared by dipping the normal filter paper in the formaldehyde solution, and then it is mixed with the 4% solution of nitrocellulose in a mixture of alcohol and ether. Due to this treatment, the pore size of the filter paper is reduced. The filter paper so obtained is called as ultrafilter, and the filtration device using such a filter paper is called as ultrafiltration. By using the impregnating solution of different concentration, a series of graded ultrafilters can be obtained. So we have to use a special filter paper. So these are called as ultrafilters, and they can be used because they will allow all the particles except the colloidal particles. All the crystalloids and the other impurities will be passed through the ultrafilter paper, but the colloidal particles will not pass through the filter paper. In normal filter paper, the colloidal solution will pass. The filter paper which we are using in normal filtration process, they will allow the passes of the colloidal salts. That's why ultrafilter papers are used.